Other interesting political news, you have Democrats that are irate that the United States Supreme Court has ruled states do have the right to ban child transitioning, aka mutilation of children. Funny enough, remember a couple years ago when Democrats promised, oh yeah, this isn't happening. It's only when they're 18 plus that we're doing these surgeries and drugs. Yet another lie from leftists. Now, this is brought to us thanks to Gunther Eagleman. Now, Gunther Eagleman says, quote, they are so upset over the SCOTUS ruling today. The reign of terror on vulnerable children is over. All 50 states must move to ban all child-affirming care for minors. Leave our children alone. In here you can see one of the LGBT trans rights activists who's transitioned herself. Let's, well, at least she put on a suit, so did something right today. Credited to MSNBC.
For the LGBT and HIV project, the ACLU, and joins me now. It's good to have you here. I can imagine this is a pretty intense day.
It is an intense day, and it's intense to watch my clients talk about their experience as parents. And you and I are.
And I thought my voice was bad.
Both fathers, and I think we, as many other parents, have had the experience of sitting in our doctor's office with our child and our doctor and making decisions together about what our children need. And what this case is about at its core is that Tennessee lawmakers came into that doctor's office and decided they know best. And
I'm sorry, to clarify this individual's title, this is Chase Strangio. Her name is Strange. I can't make this up. Though, to be fair, I don't have much ground to stand on. My name is Topping. So, this person is the co-director of the ACLU's LGBT and HIV rights activist.
And displaced that careful, reasoned judgment of those parents in Tennessee. And that is unimaginable and should be unimaginable for any parent.
I would lose my mind.
Yeah.
I find it so, what an invasion.
Yeah, oh my gosh, we can't chop body parts off and give them drugs that are used for rapists. That's what they're complaining about here.
Of this sacrosanct thing of getting your kid medical care or psychological, whatever care it is.
Yeah, medical care, my ass.
That the government is going to tell you can't do it.
And I think the reality to here, too, is as with all parents and as with all serious medical needs, they grappled with it for a long time and did their own research and talked to doctors and talked to experts and then finally.
Doctors are paid also by Big Pharma. There's a huge fiscal incentive mechanism for this as well.
Finally, they come to a conclusion based on the recommendation of doctors, based on their own research, based on watching their child deteriorate.
Bullshit.
And then they get this medical care. They watch their child improve. That feeling of seeing your kid come back.
If they improve, why is the rate at which they take their own lives, statistically speaking, the same whether they do the surgeries or not?
And the government comes in and says, no, we're taking this away. And that is what today the Supreme Court greenlit in their 6-3 decision in Scrimeti.
There's a question in Scrimeti, which is the name of the decision, 6-3.
Yeah, I can't but think you probably guess all three of them were the gals in the Supreme Court who radical leftist. As Amy Coney Barrett has been a lot of people joke infected by the woke mind virus or turned by the other two. But yeah, they're very irate that they can't do this to children. Remember, not too long ago, they're saying, well, yeah, this isn't happening. You're paranoid. You're crazy, Republicans. You libertarians, you're crazy to think this. It's not happening. It's only once they're 18, then they're chopping body parts off and taking these drugs like Lupron that was engineered for rapists to neuter them. Yeah. Now, this went moderately viral, about 550,000 views, as well as 48,000 likes. And yeah, again, I think just like with illegal immigration, you're going to have what they call sanctuary states. So I'm sure California and Minnesota, very similar parallels with like the abortion industry. They will probably have child transitions all the way. They'll probably be able to do it if the child's 2 weeks old. They'll probably do that in Minnesota. So Minnesota, gotta pronounce it improperly. It's a slight to the state. But again, I think the Supreme Court just has said they're being more bombastic because, again, it's not. They're saying Tennessee had the right to do this. So other states may follow suit. It's not like the Supreme Court just shot down these surgeries altogether. I pray to God, I wish they did. But this is just saying the states have the right to ban these practices, these life-changing surgeries that, again, are irreversible and affect the child for life when the child cannot consent. There's a reason you don't let a kid get a tattoo. There's a reason you don't let a kid shoot up drugs. If they say, it blows my mind, this is another one of their hills that they want to die on. Now, going to the comment section, one of the first ones comes from Gunther Eagleman, says, quote, they really want to call this sexual discrimination. No, it's called abuse. Doing this to children is abusive, which God, that's insane. Let's hear what it has to say. What's she saying now?
To rule in ways that they seem to favor ideologically that don't line up with the precedent. This is a statute that says you can do something that's consistent with your sex. You can't do something inconsistent with your sex. I think it says sex 19 times in the statute, and they're like, it doesn't have anything to do with sex.
And your argument was this is sex discrimination. We have a long jurisprudence of sex discrimination. This law says you can get hormone therapy for all these reasons.
Yep.
But if you're doing it for this reason related to sex, you can't.
Exactly.
That's sex discrimination.
That's sex discrimination. And
some of those drugs are used to treat cancer. Some of these drugs are actually what they're doing, going off label, which is obviously illegal, and using them for things they're not originally intended for and originally greenlit for by the government.
You know, I just reread the briefs. I was like, this is so clear. And of course, they went out of their way to say, no, it's not sex discrimination. Now, was that bad? Yes. Was that wrong? Yes. Is it devastating for these families? Yes. And also, it was a narrow decision.
There's a lot of single moms that are going to be really irate. They can't use their kids as a glorified, what is it, like the dog in the purse thing? Like their accessory? Can't but no, look at all the statistics on who's transing the kids the most. Liberal white women. And unfortunately, the dad is usually absent. I don't think that's a coincidence. Or he's just a simp who says nothing. I mean, you see the rare instances where the dad is there. His eyes and body language when they're doing these announcements as a family, you can tell he's dead inside. He's broken. And he knows if he tries to do anything, the courts will take away his house, his wealth, and he'll have to pay alimony and child support for the rest of his damn life.
Cabined it to this very particular context. They went out of their way to say, for example, that not only is Bostock good law, but we're not, which is the decision that the court issued in 2020, saying that sex discrimination under Title VII includes discrimination against LGBT people. That's good, and even more so.
So that's a landmark civil rights case. That's not overruled by today, which seems like an important thing to establish.
And that's not overruled by today. And even more so, the court said, look, and we're not even deciding if it applies more broadly. It might. And the lower court in this case had tried to cabin that decision to Title VII. And the court leaves open today that it may apply in the context of like Title IX.
I want to read you from a judge. I think he's a Reagan judge or a Bush judge, Republican judge, William Young. Reagan appointed.
Yeah.
That got 1.3 thousand likes. Man, these people are insane. You also have Raven Hurt, 66, doing a quote from Charlie Kirk, who says, quote, if you're 18 and think you're the opposite sex, you have mental illness. If you're 8 and you think you're opposite sex, your mother has mental illness. Getting 279, let's make it 280 likes, because that's damn true and horrifying. Well, 281 likes, it's going up like a stock. Yeah, it was heartbreaking. Yeah, there's a video I shared yesterday talking about, with the announcement, we had a mother putting her son on hormone treatments, and the son was crying as they injected more things into him. Oh, I was going to say, these ladies. Wall Street Apes says, quote, Big Pharma loves gender-affirming care. It's a literal lifetime of hormone prescriptions. Yep, getting 667 likes, going up like NVIDIA stock back in the day, though not financial advice. Yeah, people don't realize, once you get these surgeries, which again, statistically speaking, doesn't help the person, the rate at which they take their own life is identical. So I believe this is 40%. And again, I'm saying, I think talking to someone would be 1,000 times more effective than what they're trying to do. Although I don't think they're actually authentically trying to help these people. I think it's more about woke ideology. Again, there are some people who have some genuine struggles. I mean, a lot of people have struggles. But trying to turn them into a customer, a big farmer for life. Because again, once you get the surgeries, the guy, not to be too graphic, but it requires maintenance that requires more surgeries. And you get those drugs and those hormones, you got to take those forever. That's great for big pharma. They make literally a lifetime client. And doctors, a lot of them get kickbacks, a lot of them have big incentives to push these things. This isn't the first time doctors have had those incentive mechanisms. There are a lot of reasons why they want to trans the kids. George Washington also says FAFO, and it says touch our children and I'll try to keep this moderately family friendly. It says touch our children and we the people will neuter you. Getting 66 likes. Trey E3 says, quote, parents who chop off their children's fingers are put in prison. Parents who chop off their children's genitals should be put in prison. Doctors who chop off children's genitals should be put in prison. This is the way, getting 141 likes. Stoic Logic says, quote, the motive behind all this? Destruction of the male population. Without males, Democrats can stay in their perpetual power, supported by females with quote-unquote females, getting 116 likes. Interesting conspiracy theory. Or, as I like to call, yesterday's conspiracy theory is just tomorrow's facts. That's not out of the realm of possibility. Look at who votes Democrat. Overwhelmingly, it's liberal white women and very elderly. Scroll down more and more. Lynette called Bella has looks like the painting of the guy from 1950s, and he says, hold on right there, trans F. Stop trying to force 99% of the population to participate in your mental illness. Getting 101 likes. Ashley brings up a good question. She says, she just questioned, what is woman getting 73 likes, which famously Democrats cannot actually define. Going down more and more. Kevin Thomas simply has a cartoon or a picture of a kid throwing up. Looks like AI made it. It's throwing up a rainbow, and it says, leave the kids alone. That got 5 likes. A Kathleen says, stop the schools from grooming children too. There's a mom who says, how's school today? And the child throws up in the rainbow. And that got 99, let's make it 100 likes. Especially true in California, where Gavin Newsom passed a law saying, well, parents, they don't deserve to know. If teachers help your child, by pushing them to use certain pronouns and maybe dressing a certain way, well, Gavin Newsom passed a law saying parents do not have the right to know. The teachers are allowed to and encouraged to hide that data, hide that behavior from the parents. That should horrify the hell out of any parent living in California and give them a huge incentive mechanism to get the hell out if you have children there. Yeah, it's one of those things where hopefully I'll be blessed someday to be in a position where I have a family. I don't care if I have to work, like 2 or 3 times as hard to ensure they go to either a good school locally or just homeschool them. Because again, there are some good schools in the United States. It's very much a state-by-state thing, district thing. But yeah, for the love of God, you got to be involved in your child's education, not only for them indoctrinating them, but also for them physically hurting them. So interesting to see them continue to melt down after this. Let me know in the comments. I suspect, California, Minnesota, they'll become quote unquote sanctuary states for these types of activities. But let me know your thoughts, because as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Thank you everyone for taking time to tune in today. Again, trying to get to 6,000 subscribers by the end of the month. So click that button. I greatly appreciate it. Also, give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, and a comment. It's a great way to give me some additional feedback, letting me know how I can make the show better and better. Lastly, don't forget to take time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, anyone, everyone. Just stay safe and fight the good fight.